Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing this again. Why? Well, because at this point I have a death wish and I don't care if I get taken out by a rabid NZXT fan. Hello everyone and welcome to another video where today we are taking yet another look at NZXT BLD or NZXT Build or NZXT BLD or however they're supposed to be pronouncing it, because if you are new to this channel you may not know this, but last time we visited this website, things got rather interesting because I pointed out quite a few things that were really off about it, and clearly my critique was rather valid, seeing how NZXT themselves contacted me and said that he fixed some things on the website that I talked about in the video. However, clearly that was not enough for the NZXT fanboys out there, because man did they not take the information that their beloved website could be flawed rather well, and that turned into a whole situation. But now, well, we're returning to the land of NZXT Build once again to see how exactly the website has changed, and in particular I want to see how they're handling the current PC part shortages. So let's just go straight into it. And right off the bat I can see that the website has changed a lot. It has a nice like minimalist look now, and all the PCs are now here. So let's go with the starter PCs, the PCs I complained about a lot in my previous videos because they had some flaws and some very weird pricing. But now let's see exactly what has changed. So let's start off with the $1,000 starter PC. We can get it in both matte white and matte black, very nice, and I'm assuming they're going to use like a Ryzen or something. Nope, a i3 9100F of all things, a 2-generation old CPU. Now granted, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, it's kind of 2 generations old at this point. And also, it's kind of interesting, so if they haven't got Ryzen for this PC, I'm assuming that for other PCs, they have to have Ryzen, right? Right? Like, I'm not one of those people who's like a Ryzen or Riot, but for budget PCs, 3rd gen Ryzen is still an amazing choice, so we'll see how that goes. They also have a GTX 1650, which is fine, whatever. There's no real alternative for such a budget card right now, so I can deal with that. 16 gigs of RAM, that's great. 3000 MHz, that's great. And ooh, a 500 gig SSD. Please tell me that you at least get a hard drive. No, you don't get a hard drive. See, at 500 gigabytes, because when you think about the size of some modern games, things like, you know, Cyberpunk, or even, you know, like common esports games like, what's that, like Call of Duty one called Warzone. There we go. I don't play Call of Duty, so I don't know these kind of things. Those kind of games are ginormous nowadays, and 500 gigs is just nowhere near enough. When you're putting in a NVMe that's small, then at least a 1TB hard drive, which costs, come on, next to nothing nowadays, is kind of a must. And you also get a 450 watt power supply. It's a bronze as well. Like, in theory, it's enough. You really don't need more than that for this kind of PC. It's just kind of a dead end power supply. Like, you literally won't be able to upgrade your PC a lot while still maintaining that kind of power supply. But now let's check out the Starter Plus. Let's see what I have here. A 10400F. Okay, so that's only a last gen CPU. That's fine. Last gen and current gen is fine. Anything other than that is a bit iffy. 16 gigs of RAM, a 1660 Super. Again, there's no real alternative in that kind of price range right now. And we are getting ourselves a SSD, and that's all we know because they haven't filled in brand and series for some reason. And are we at least getting a hard drive in this PC, seeing how it's a bit more expensive? Nope. Still a hard drive. If you're paying this much for a PC, odds are you can also afford a hard drive. However, the thing about these pre-built PCs is that they're at their best when you have to do as little work as possible when you get it and when you unbox it. Because from that point, all you should really have to do is, you know, take out any packaging, plug in power, plug in a monitor, plug in mouse and keyboard, and plug in internet if you're going via Ethernet. Like, that's it. The less work you have to do from there, the better. And I know it's not like the hardest thing in the world to install a hard drive, but still, it just kind of detracts from the kind of ease that pre-builds are supposed to entail. But so far, I mean, like, pricing wise and everything, especially given the current market, that's like fine really. But now let's check out the Starter Pro, and seeing how this costs $1,400, I expect to go down there in the spec sheet and see a nice budget, well performing Ryzen CPU. And nope, still just a 10400F. Again, a 10400F is fine, and AMD doesn't really have too much of a really budget offering in the current gen, but 3rd gen Ryzen still exists, And in fact, they just released the brand new Ryzen 5000 APUs. Those things are awesome, and I'm assuming that OEMs like NZXT already have access to these kind of things straight from AMD. So unless they just like completely ran out of virgin Ryzens, or just for some reason haven't yet employed the brand new Ryzen 5000 CPUs, I really can't see why they haven't utilized any of it in these starter PCs, especially seeing at this point we're paying $1,400. Like, that's a lot for a bare essential PC. So we are, however, getting an RTX 2060, which is fine, but I'm hoping that's going to change to something like a 3050 Ti or 3050 maybe when those launch, or I don't really know what the pricing of the 3060s are like, but maybe when we get more of those, a 3060, that'd be awesome, because the 2060 is just, it's fine, it's a decent budget card, but with Ampere, there's going to be so many better options. Finally, we are getting a 1TB NVMe SSD, and at that point, I don't really mind if I don't get a hard drive. At 1TB, that is pretty enough, and it's definitely going to take some time before you fully fill up a 1TB NVMe SSD, so that's fine. Still just a 500W PSU, again, should be fine, and just some random cooling. But here's something I'm really interested in, the Creator PC, because if you haven't noticed, because you haven't had your eyes checked recently, you are watching a YouTube channel, because I'm a YouTuber or a content creator. So I could use a pretty good Creator PC. So let's see what kind of offerings NZXT has. This is the category where I think I'll have the most to say, seeing how I am a content creator myself. So they only have one option, so it better be good. $4,000 though. Let's see what on earth they have for $4,000. Oh wow, they did not spare expenses here. They have a Core i9 10900K. Again, why not Ryzen? For budget PCs, okay, Intel is a decent choice there, because especially with current gen Ryzen CPUs, there isn't too many budget options, and they may, for all I know, be running short on third gen Ryzen. And just for pure gaming, Intel has some great budget CPUs, but for productivity, you're really limiting yourself core count wise, and also just in your overall performance in creative applications if you go for a 10900K or just any Intel CPU right now. Like something like a 3900X, 3950X, or even their current gen counterparts would have been amazing for this. However, thankfully they're kind of making up ground by also having an RTX 3090. That's, seeing how those things are kind of hard to get, an RTX 3090 as well would be absolutely amazing for content creators. And this is the part where I have to decide exactly how nitpicky I want to be, which directly correlates to how much people are going to get at me. Because NZXT, right here, you say that the 3090 operates at PCIe Gen 3, while in reality, it operates on PCIe Gen 4. So, fix your website, NZXT. Okay, again, I'm just joking, I really don't care that much. It's just something I noticed because I'm smug like that. You also get 64 gigs of RAM, that's also really awesome to see. A 4TB hard drive, that's also awesome. A Gen 4 NVMe SSD, and also an 850W gold PSU with Windows 10 Pro. That is overall a pretty decent PC. I don't know, for a Creator PC, I feel it would make more sense if they went for a nice high core count Ryzen though, because that would make a huge difference. I'm also kind of surprised that over here, when they kind of list performance numbers, they only list games. Also, these numbers can't be right, because number one, apparently getting the same FPS in GTA 5 in 1080 and 4040, I can guarantee you that's not the case. And also apparently you're only getting 75 FPS in Minecraft at 1080p, 72 at 1440. My PC only has a 3700X and a 1080 Ti, and it can get like 200 plus FPS in Minecraft at 4K. So there's no way that's right. But back to my original point, why on earth didn't they include some, you know, performance numbers here that are more to do with creative workloads, like some, I don't know, Blender benchmarks for like the BMW test or the classroom test, or like some 3D Mark numbers, or like anything like that, or some numbers from SpecViewPerf. Like anything like that would have been super useful for creative types to know. Basically what I'm trying to say here, NZXT, hire me to design your site for you, please. I actually really need the money, so please do so. But hey, at the very least, it seems that they at least kind of get what creative types need. Okay, apparently not. Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble, but ray tracing really does not matter for a Creator PC. Unless stuff like Blender doesn't have like RT core acceleration. If so, that will make more sense. but I actually don't know because I haven't used Blender in a long time. But now let's talk about specking your own PC, because that's something I also criticized a lot last time, seeing how you could literally have a completely different price between a pre-spec PC and a custom spec PC. So I talked a lot about how that's really dumb, because a customer could be potentially getting a really bad deal if they just select the wrong thing at the start. So I think in future videos they kind of fixed that. I can't remember, but let's see exactly where that stands now. Now we get an AMD option. That's interesting. Yeah, let's just go with like a $1,000 budget and see what it gives me. Okay, so it gave me a B550 Pro motherboard with 5600X. That is really nice. It didn't give me a graphics card for some reason. Okay, so this is where all the RTX 30 series cards have been hiding. Hello there, I'm gonna go for an RTX 3060 myself. What's interesting though is that even though they do have 20 series cards, as we've seen on the other pre-built PCs, I wonder why they don't list them here. Like, I don't know why. Like, let the customer have choice and list them here. Maybe they're doing it just to kind of avoid redundancy and having that issue I talked about before, where you can be paying two different prices for an identically spec PC, depending on where you spec it, if it's like on here or if it's a pre-spec one. That could be the case. I don't know what to think about it though. And once again, no like previous gen AMD CPUs. That's interesting. Maybe they just don't have any. That could actually be the case. But I mean, so far, a 5600X and an RTX 3060 for $1,600, that's a pretty good PC. 16 gigs of RAM. What about storage wise? And excuse me, I've been looking for this for ages. Oh wait, what? How on earth do they have it? They have the Seagate They have the Seagate Cyberpunk 2077 limited edition NVMe SSD. How though? What? I've been looking for that thing for ages, and apparently it's not on sale, because I even talked to a guy at Seagate, and he told me it's not on sale yet. But how on earth do they have it? What? Now I'm tempted just to buy this PC, just so I can take the NVMe out of it and just resound the rest of it. This is such an aside, but if anyone knows where I could buy this NVMe just standalone, please tell me. I really want it. It looks awesome. So please, please, please help me find one. But speaking of buying this PC just to resell parts, like, yeah, you can get stuff like an RTX 3090 and stuff here. I wonder how popular of a practice it is for people just to buy a PC like that, snatch stuff from it that you can't normally buy, like say the RTX 3090 or even a nice Ryzen 5000 CPU, then people just, you know, take those parts out of it and then they just resell what they don't need out of their PC. Literally just gut it and then resell its body parts. That sounds like a great plan. I wonder how many people actually do it though, because honestly that would cost you way less than scalper pricing. So like technically, why not? Here's something I want to do to see if they fix the problem of having different pricing here versus the pre-spec. So I'm gonna spec a PC that's identical to that Creator PC and see exactly how different of a price it is over here. So let's go for a 10900K, which they don't have here. Again, with stuff like that, I guess that it does prevent redundancy, but at the same time just giving a customer more choice over here and then just ensuring they just pay the same amount in either case. That would make more sense honestly, but what do I know? So let's just go for 10700K for now. That it included a RTX 3090, it included a 800 watt, I think it was an 850 watt power supply, and it also had 64 gigs of RAM. Wait, how do I add 64 gigs? I can't apparently. Wait, what? Can I really not add 64 gigs over here? No? 32, 32. Really? I can't even select 64 gigs here outside of the Creator PC? That, like, this goes like beyond removing redundancy, because with the Creator PC, you only have one pre-spec PC for that. So if you wanted to modify literally anything about that Creator PC, you literally couldn't, because you can't get the 64 gigabytes here, and that's a pretty important part of a Creator PC. Like, I have 32 gigs on my PC, and for some projects that's nowhere near enough. So if I wanted to have a PC with 64 gigs of RAM, but I then wanted to have, say, I don't know, a different CPU, like for example, a Ryzen one with more cores, or I wanted a slightly weak graphics card because I didn't need a 3090, or if I wanted like more storage from the get-go, if I wanted this beautiful Seagate FireCuda 520 Cyberpunk 2077 limited edition NVMe SSD, then I couldn't do any of that because I can't get 64 gigs of RAM. NZXT, why? NZXT, I'm trying to be kind to you, but you're making it very difficult for me. But I guess still the site has overall improved. There is still clearly some things that are a bit off about it and a bit annoying, but hey, it has improved. But now I have to edit this video and upload it and wait for the tsunami of angry NZXT fans to come knocking on my door. So let me know if you would consider buying a PC from NZXT BLD yourself. Let me know if you have, and let me know what your experience was like. But hey, if you're still here, and if you want to make me feel better about the backlash I'm about to get, then maybe check out my Patreon, because even $1 a month goes a long way in helping out my channel. It allows me to make way better videos, along with videos on way more interesting topics, so definitely check it out. It's going to be down in the video description below. I'd also love to thank my patrons Gavin Burns, Ryan, LKB, Nomi Sushi, Meg Sumner, Blake the Rake, and Roland Cloaker. Thank you guys so much, your support truly goes a long way. Down there you're also going to find our Amazon links if you want to buy like PC parts or like pretty much anything else. Just use those links because it helps the channel as well. Plus down there's our old customs link if you want to get 5% off one of the awesome keyboards. Plus then there's also our Discord server if you want to talk to me or us at this or whatever else really. Plus down there's our social media links as well. Anyway, that's what it's. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe, like, whatever. I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.